I note the kindness and sense of support among faculty members. I've done site visits at 40 training programs around the country and have never seen more cordial working relationships among faculty than I have here. When a new faculty member arrives, he or she is accepted into the family, not put on probation or forced to be here a few years before being allowed to join the club. When a colleague is recognized for teaching or writing, gets promoted, or is otherwise distinguished, the rest of us are proud and pleased. Cooperation is commonplace across departments, across levels of experience, and across professions, from medicine to nursing, to psychology, to pharmacy, to social work. The tendency is to cooperate rather than compete, and to collaborate rather than work in protected silos. When I needed heart surgery years ago, my in-laws lived a half hour from Cleveland Clinic, but instead I chose to stay here, and I was extremely anxious. And on a Saturday morning on his own, Jim Boland came to my hospital room, and in his tranquil way, he explained what was to happen. It was like God had visited me, and it was better than Valium. Jim may not recall that visit, but I assure you that I always will, because there's some things you never forget, even if you live to be very old. And recently, when a member of my family had what appeared to be a serious carotid problem, my first thought was to call Ali Aburama, who, in addition to being my friend, is one of the finest vascular surgeons on the planet. It turned out we didn't need Ali, but I knew without question if I called, he would be there. I could say the same about each of the departments here. There's no greater praise for colleagues than the assurance that you would place the care of someone you love in their hands. I have to recognize the leadership of the Charleston Division and CAMC, which has been impressive, particularly in the past 10 years. To have the captains and officers of each ship sailing on the same course without hitting each other is the best of worlds. Dave Ramsey has made clear in many ways his appreciation of the value of WVU on this campus. And as we search for a new leader of the Charleston campus, we can only hope to find someone with Dr. Hans Barger's wisdom and passion for our educational mission. Our relationship with CAMC has at times been stormy in the past, but for the past decade has been outstanding. In the beginning, both organizations were struggling with birth pains, but CAMC embraced the educational assignment here, valued what WVU brought to the medical center, and returned the favor at every turn. Sometimes we get lost due to the size and reach of CAMC, and that's something we will struggle with for the foreseeable future. It's easy for us to fade in the glare of such a potent and visible force in this region, and hopefully we can continue to try to present the affiliation of WVU and CAMC to the public as the ideal partnership that it truly is. I must also note what I hope to be a new relationship with the Morgantown campus. In the past, Morgantown would have celebrated an anniversary, and a few from here would watch it on MDTV. But today, the Chancellor is here, because it's not Morgantown's anniversary, it's WVU's anniversary, and we are WVU. Thankfully, we have a leader with the wisdom to understand that. We should aim for more shared educational and scholarly activities across our 3 campuses, since that's what the academic health center of the future must look like. I'd like to mention something that we take for granted but should not, and that's the physical plant. These buildings and grounds are attractive and well maintained, although the call rooms do need work. Parking is available and doesn't break the bank. Security officers are responsive, respectful, and competent, and unlike some places I have worked, such as in inner city Cleveland, you don't have to wonder whose side security is on. In combination, this makes for a safe and comfortable place to work, to teach, and to learn. As faculty, our careers revolve around scholarship, teaching, and clinical service, and I'd like to discuss each of these areas very briefly, starting with scholarship. For years, there was no scholarly activity here whatever, and then it got off to a shaky start. There was no cherry. Education and research were sustained entirely from CAMC's clinical revenue. So support was good if the medical center had a good year, but it declined if the organization had a bad year. It was Sharon Hall who decided that education and research were vital to CAMC and needed to be insulated from the cycles of profit and loss. She championed the development of the CAMC Institute to give stability to the educational mission and support what is now a very healthy research enterprise. In addition, the Charleston Division Library is now exceptional, progressive, and well managed by a director who reaches out to faculty and students and is responsive to their requests and their concerns. For the next comments, I wish I had the chicken wire cage that is used in country bars to keep the patrons from throwing beer bottles at the band. But I believe the Research and Grants Office, the new Research Council, the ISRB, and the IRB all work carefully to protect human subjects, to be sure the institution complies with federal regulations, and to support faculty and student researchers. Sometimes there are disagreements and things don't go as smoothly as we would like, but without them, there would be no research at the Charleston campus. Tension between investigators and these oversight groups is the norm in academic institutions across the country and will likely linger here as we continue to grow. But we can't lose sight of the fact that in the recent past, there were no open research protocols at the Charleston Division. Today, there are 338. With this research presence, we can now recruit young faculty from around the country who seek an environment of scholarly inquiry in addition to clinical service and teaching, which bodes well for the future of scholarship at this campus. Next, I'd like to highlight faculty teaching. The medical student training programs in the 3rd and 4th year and our education of residents and allied health students are the primary reason for our being here, to teach the next generation of clinicians to provide services into the future. Their teachers are an outstanding mix of seasoned community practitioners and full-time WVU faculty. And our simulation center is recognized regionally for its innovation and creativity. Our students continue to impress us with their intelligence, their dedication and maturity through what must be the most stressful period of their lives. Medical students relocate here from Morgantown for their 3rd year, and while some are from the Charleston area, most are not. Many are from out of state, which requires them first to go to Morgantown and then after 2 years to leave familiar surroundings yet again to move to Charleston. And while they may move anywhere they choose, available student housing at Mayer Village and Jefferson Place provides clean and secure settings close to their fellow students. I would be remiss not to mention the staff of student services who are available to medical students for direction or advice, a kind word, or emotional support when life is tossing them around. Residents also come not only from outside West Virginia, but from other countries, and must find their place in a new community at a great uncertainty and time of pressure. A welcoming environment and a supportive graduate medical education staff work to ease the bumps that are unavoidable in this process. Equally important is the esteem that students from various disciplines enjoy from one another. They learn side by side from mentors, but also show the ultimate respect of learning from one another. That's not always the case at other places and is worthy of note. With such students, our future is assured. And finally, I'd like to address service to our patients in the community. Most important are the people of Southern West Virginia. They have been classified and at times insulted by the national media as one of the unhealthiest groups in the nation. They are portrayed as lazy and overweight. They abuse tobacco and prescription drugs and have alarming dietary habits. But most are also warm and accommodating, considerate and dedicated to their families, their state, and to their country. They are independent but respectful and guided by strong values that emphasize self-reliance and support of their neighbors and kin. They are not an easy population to treat. This is an Appalachian culture with long-standing traditions that must be understood and appreciated. But from our emergency departments to step-down floors to rehabilitation to outpatient clinics and prevention programs, our impact here has grown in reach, in depth, and in complexity. Some of the best evidence-based care in the nation is provided to our patients. We train students to be sure patients and their children and grandchildren will continue to receive extraordinary services and we do research to assure that their treatment is provided by those who are informed and current in their knowledge. The Charleston Division has served as the tip of the spear as WVU has done its best to meet the needs of the citizens of this region. J. Paul Getty once said, "The meek shall inherit the earth, but not the mineral rights." We got the proverbial mineral rights through passion and persistence, and the Charleston Division faculty deserves much of the credit for the success of WVU in this region. Travel in southern West Virginia, and you see kids and teens, adults and seniors wearing WVU hats and sweatshirts with WVU flags and stickers on their vehicles. Because of you, we have done what we set out to do. We have brought their university to them. Thanks very much.